Yes, so cell is a basic unit of life. All right, so before we go into the different kind of cells, the animal cells, the bacterial cells, the plant cells, let us begin with the theory, the cell theory. Now, understanding the cell theory is very, very important, simply because when it was discovered, there was a particular purpose, there was a particular principle that made that discovery to come out, and how it is really, really important in biology generally. So number one, there are three theories of cell. The cell theory are just three. The first one is that the cell is a fundamental and structural unit, the fundamental, structural, and functional unit of life. So that's to say that it dictates the structure, how the organism will look like, the shape, how it will look like, the form. It dictates the form, and it also dictates the function of every living thing in this life. So in what you learn in primary school, basic science, you learned the characteristics of living things in form of this acronym, Mr. NIGER D, right? So you have the movement, the respiration, nutrition, irritability, growth, excretion, reproduction, and eventually death. So all these characteristics can be exhibited by a single cell. So that is why we find that as one of the theory. So I'll write it on the board. Number one is that the cell is the fundamental structural, and functional unit of life. Now, number two, all organisms, living organisms, are made up of one or more cells. Now, when you're talking about living organisms, I'm not talking about virus, the coronavirus. Yeah. So that's a major particular thing at this moment that has really taken over the world. The virus is not a living thing. So we'll get to that part. I know you're questioning like, wow, how is the virus not a living thing, and yet that is causing a lot of trouble? Yes, it is not a living thing. So it will not be part of this thing that we're talking about here. But I will tell you why it is not a living thing sometimes later. So now the second theory, back to the second theory, all organisms are made up of one or more cells. So I'll write it. All organisms are made, all living organisms are made up of one or more cells. I hope you can see what I write. I think I'll make it more legible. So this is the part where you now have the different kind of cell in terms of their number. We have some organisms that are unicellular and organisms that are multicellular. So those organisms that are made up of one are the ones that were called unicellular. And those that are made up of more cells are the ones that are called multicellular. Okay, now the third theory and the last theory states that all cells arise from pre-existing cells through cellular division. So how come we have cells? How do we continue to have cells? It is a result of the pre-existing cells reproducing to form more cells through the process called cell division. So cells comes from pre-existing cells. All cells comes from pre-existing cells through cell division. So This is the fundamental theory of cell. This will guide you on everything about cell. Once you have this in mind, you'll be able to understand every other thing. And this is a very, very common question that you'll be asked. And you may also be asked that who are the ones that are behind this cell theory? What are the scientists that are behind this cell theory? We have two major scientists, Theodor Schwann and Matthias Skledin. So I'm sure after this class, you'll make further research about that. So let us move on to the other aspects of cell. Now, we want to discuss the two forms of cell. So, can classify these cells of living organisms in two forms. Number one, prokaryotes or prokaryotic cell. And number two, eukaryotes or eukaryotic cells. Now, sometimes take note, the spelling, you need to be very careful as regards the spelling of biological terms. If you make any mistake, if you make any error in spelling, you're off. You have to be very meticulous about spelling. So there are some spellings of these prokaryotes that comes with K, as I've written, and those that comes with C. So both of them are correct. Now, in biology consists of combination of different words, just like you have biology. Bio means life, logy means study of life. So the same thing, prokaryotes, eukaryotes. You can see there's something common to both of them, karyotes. So what is the meaning of karyotes? Karyotes is a Greek word for nucleus. Karyotes means nucleus. Now we all know nucleus. For those of us that are advanced in biology, even though you just starting SS1, you know that from GSS that all cells have nucleus, which is the central part where the genetic material is found. Now, this nucleus is the major keyword here. Now, when we say prokaryotes, pro means before, just before, or a preliminary stage of a particular thing. So just before it becomes nucleus is what you call prokaryotes, literally. So what do we mean by prokaryotic cells this time? Prokaryotic cells are cells that do not have true nucleus. Opposite of eukaryotes, because this EU here means true. It doesn't mean that pro means false. So eukaryote means true nucleus. So that's to say that eukaryotic cells are cells that have true nucleus. So let's break it down. Let's start from prokaryotes. What are examples of prokaryotes? By that, you'll be able to understand this whole thing that I'm saying. Right now, I'm going to share a screen with you that shows an example of prokaryotes. Yeah, it is bacteria. We have bacteria as a typical example of prokaryotes. So I'm going to show you the structure of prokaryotes right now. So let's pay attention. All right, so sure you can see this picture here. The particular one I need to share with you is this.